Hello and welcome to another episode of Cambridge ZooCast. I'm Matthew Hayes and I'm joined this week by Millie, who's going to tell us a bit about her work.
Hi, I'm Millie. I'm a PhD student in the insect ecology group.
Millie, could you tell me a little bit about the work that you do here?
Okay, so I'm studying ants here in oil palm plantations in Sumatra in Indonesia, and I'm interested in their ecology. So I'm trying to understand what all of the ants, I'm not working on a particular species, I'm studying all of the ants and trying to understand how important they are in the oil palm plantations. For example, there are ants that live in the canopy, which are really important because they eat the caterpillars and the caterpillars eat the leaves, which is bad for the oil palm. So they're used as pest control. And then there are also ants, which, lots of ants, they're very abundant, that live in the soil, and they turn over the soil, which is important to make space for roots to grow and also for water to run through the soil and for nutrients to turn around. They move around nutrients, so they make the soil nice and healthy. My project is basically that I have these plots and then we're removing all the ants from the plots, which, as you can imagine, is really difficult because they're ants and you can't get rid of them from anywhere. It's a bit mad, but then so we remove all the ants from the plots and then we see how the system changes by measuring things like insect biodiversity to see how the biodiversity changes, and then also ecosystem functions, which basically means things like herbivory or decomposition or soil compaction, water infiltration, things like that. Oil palm doesn't have, compared to other crops, doesn't use a huge amount of insecticides, but it does use some insecticides. So it's about understanding the value of the insects which people might or might not be removing. And then there's also other things which farmers do or plantation owners which can affect the insect communities. So for example, I'm working on a project, part of a larger project within my research group, which is called BEFTA, which is has been a long-term project where they've varied the amount of understory vegetation in the plots. So some farmers put down loads of herbicide and some put down no herbicide and some put down a medium amount of herbicide, and then that affects the ant communities. So that's the idea.
Awesome. Do you spend much time out in Indonesia?
Yeah, I have spent about 13 months there probably, and I'm just in my third year now since October.
Wow.
So less than half my time I've been out there for.
Awesome. Do you enjoy it out there?
Yeah, I do enjoy it. It's been really interesting ecologically. So it's interesting seeing tropical ecosystems because they're so different to the ecosystems that we have here. But then it's also very interesting living in a country that's so far away and so different in so many ways. And it's definitely challenging because the project was really large to install. So we dug over 1 kilometre of half-metre deep trenches and installed loads and loads of plastic. It was kind of like trench warfare. So that was logistically very challenging.
So you moved straight from undergrad to do PhD, right?
Nearly. I had a year working as a research assistant in the Czech Republic.
Okay. The reason I asked is because obviously I work in your lab group and I did a master's after my undergrad. I was wondering how you found the transition going straight from undergrad to a PhD without having a master's in between, because I've heard good things and bad things from different people. I was wondering what your own take on that was.
Yeah, well, I've only had one experience, so I'd say I don't really have that much data
Sure, a good scientific answer.
A conclusion from your question. But certainly I think that the year I had working in the Czech Republic, identifying ants was really useful because that's a skill which does take some time to get. So that has been really useful. And also I spent a year in a large research group that was doing tropical ecology, so I learned a lot from them about how they were doing their PhDs and things like that. But I think the main thing that really made a difference that made me not struggle with that transition was probably my supervisor, because he took me through everything very easily.
And what's the next thing for you?
I'm going back out to the field again in about 10 days for another 2.5 months.
Oh, cool. Excited?
Yeah, definitely.
Awesome. Well, have a great time and thank you very much for talking to me today.
Thank you for having me.